So far in our project we have several tests with similar assertions. For example, if we'll take a look inside activities.test.ts, scroll down to the end of this file, in here we can see the test, which uses 3 similar expectations, and in such cases, we can apply one refactoring to make this test to be so-called data-driven. This way we will be able to turn this test into the following, which will have only one expectation, but still it is going to run 3 expectations under the hood, because we are going to create an array with all necessary data needed to run all 3 expectations, but this data will come into this test as parameters. So this way we're splitting the data and the logic of the test. And now I'm going to define a couple of params for this function, call them tracked seconds and percentage. And then to turn this test into data-driven test, we're going to use method each, which is called on the test object. This test object has to be imported from the Vitest library. Then we will have to build up the array with the data that our test needs, and as many elements this array will contain, as many times our test function will be invoked. So since in our case test function accepts 2 parameters, I'm going to define arrays with 2 elements where first element will be amount of seconds we're about to pass to calculate activity completion percentage call, and the second element will be percentage amount that we are expecting to get after each call of calculate activity completion percentage function. In other words, I'm simply moving values from the previous expectations into this array. This way, the same amount of expectations will be checked, but now we're splitting the data from the test implementation. And just to make it more clear what is going on in here, I'm gonna use calculate activity completion percentage call in the description of this test, and inside this description we can use special characters to format some values. For example, since calculate activity completion percentage function accepts numeric value, I can use %i to format numeric value, and it also returns numeric value, so I'm gonna use the same character as a return value like this. So these characters will be replaced by parameters that we are passing into test function. And please note that each time that this function is gonna be called, it will be called with different set of arguments that we have specified inside of the array of the each method. And there are a lot of different formatting characters that we can use in the description of such tests. If we'll search for the each word inside the Vitest docs, we'll get such page with explanation of each special character that can be used for formatting. So after doing all this, we can remove the previous implementation of this test and take a look at the test results. So these 3 calls correspond to the last test that we have just refactored. We're clearly seeing what data we were passing to each calculate activity completion percentage call and what return value we were expecting. And in the case of any regression, for example, if we'll change value of one element of the first array, it is going to cause the first test for this group to fail. This way in test results we're clearly seeing which call exactly has failed. And as we can see, this kind of refactoring we can apply to those tests that have a lot of similar expectations, where only input data changes to the function that we are testing. Link to the source code of this lesson will be in the video description.